So I guess I'll tell you a few stories about things that have happened in our work and our ministry. One thing I remember that was a real powerful story is recently we have a colleague of ours who serves among an unreached people group, and he's traditionally there's been no Christians ever among this people group, and so this brother and his wife recently moved to live close to these tribal people. They live up in the mountains, and he's been serving that group about 5 years, but just recently moved close to them so that he could study their dialect and hopefully try to reach them. And so he has a coach, like a language mentor who's helping him go through the language. He's somebody from that group. And he's become friends with his language coach, but they're not, the coach isn't a believer, not interested in the gospel or anything like that. Well, one of the exciting things that's happening in now is that the house churches are becoming interested in cross-cultural missions, starting to send out short-term mission teams, sometimes long-term missionaries. And so one of the things we're trying to do is trying to connect our church partners, Chinese church partners, with opportunities to participate in cross-cultural work. So as a result of that, church in one of the cities where we have some work decided to send a short-term team to this guy's people group. And I think the team was maybe about 5 people, and they came and traveled with this brother, up into the villages, did prayer walking, tried to do some evangelism. And they didn't really have any kind of miraculous people coming to faith or anything as a result of this, but they did do a lot of praying, a lot of sharing. Well, so when they were coming back from the trip back into the city where my friend lives, they decided to stop along the way at the language coach's hometown and pick him up and take him with him the rest of the way into the city. So the language coach gets into the vehicle with them, and these short-term missionaries start sharing with the guy and talking to the coach and really kind of talking to him about, look at this foreign brother. He's come all the way from America because he loves your people so much. He's trying to learn your language, and that is all because of Jesus. And so the language coach was really moved, and the team ends up going home, and the next day the language coach goes to have his language lesson with our friend, our colleague, and they end up spending the entire time talking about the Lord. And at the end of the time, the language coach gave his life to Christ and repented and believed. And he was the first believer ever among that people group. This is a pretty awesome recent story. Another good story, just in the way that's been up to cross-cultural work, is the brothers group that we had. When they adopted their Acts 1:8 vision, they decided that they were going to get involved in working with minority peoples, and they have a lot of minorities, maybe more than 50, and even among those minorities, there's smaller subgroups. We call them unreached peoples or unengaged, unreached peoples, which means nobody's even trying to work with these people yet. Maybe the population's really small, or maybe they're so remote that they're really difficult to meet. Well, so the brothers group decided that they were going to go and try to find some of these unengaged, unreached peoples that they basically just went through a booklet that listed them all. They chose one of these groups and they said, we're going to go and find this group. And so they figured out where they were on the map, where they thought they were. They took the train over to a big city and then got on a bus and travel up into the mountains to where they think that this group is supposed to be. And, really kind of no idea what the Lord has in store for them, but just the faith to believe that God could use them. And so they're on the bus and they're out in the countryside, up on a mountain somewhere, and they, haven't had any luck finding these people. And so they finally go and ask the bus driver and say, have you ever heard of this group of people, this tribe? And the bus driver goes, oh, you see those two people back there sitting there? They're from that group. Well, so the brothers group people, the short-term team, gets really excited, and they go and surround these two people and start talking to them and start trying to share the gospel with them and everything. Well, so these two people on the bus were terrified. Minority peoples have typically been oppressed for a long time by the majority peoples. So the minorities have a lot of fear and distrust towards kind of mainland Han. And so here's all these people surrounding them, talking to them about strange things. So they were completely terrified, right? They thought, maybe they're going to try to steal from us or try to cheat us or something. So the first stop comes, and these people immediately get off the bus and disappear. Well, the team stays on the bus, continues up to wherever the terminal station is. They get off the bus, and they're in some, side of the road somewhere. And they start walking around, and they're still kind of looking for the village of this people. And they walk down the road a little ways, and it's kind of getting late in the day. They haven't found a hotel. There's no hotels out there. They didn't really plan, where they were going to eat or where they were going to stay. They were just kind of trusting the Lord for everything. So they come across this farmer, and they say, do you know where we can find the village of, this people? And the farmer goes, oh yeah, you go down this road, and then you turn at the crossroad, and you go down a ways, and you'll see it. So they hike down the road, and they turn at the crossroad, and they walk down, and they come to the beginning of the village. They stop at the very first house they see, beat on the door, knock, knock, knock. A door opens, and it's the couple from the bus. And of course, they're very surprised to see the group again. But the Lord opened this couple's, allow the team to come into their home, let them stay there the night, made dinner for them, and in the time spending with them, the group really was able to share, and the couple ended up accepting the Lord, and opened the door then for them to meet other people in that area. And so this is a really awesome story. And the group came back, and that was the time when we had 5 people commit to long-term cross-cultural service as a result of that trip, and just seeing that the Lord could use them in that context. I think they did never imagine how God could use them, but that was a good time when He did.